Good morning, friends. Yesterday we started with chapter number 13. Why do we fall ill? Yesterday we understood what is health, what is disease, what is the difference in being healthy and being disease free. We also learned about the type of diseases, their immediate cause and the contributory cause. We learned about acute diseases and chronic diseases, and also about infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. Now all the text written in the lectures is also your material. So you have to learn all those answers, all the definitions, all the words you are supposed to learn, because they can be asked as question answers also. I will give you a PDF of some NCERT question answers today, but remember, everything written inside the slides are also answers, and you can learn from the videos also. So you can pause the video, write down all the notes in your fair book and learn them from your fair book directly. Okay? So every definition, every question is the part of the material. Every slide, every material, everything written on the slide is also the part of the material. So kindly go through it, learn it well. I intend to take a test tomorrow. But we have got two more topics will be left tomorrow: prevention and precaution. Today I'm going to cover most of the topics. So still you have to revise the videos, learn them properly. Yes. What I mean to tell you is what I've written in the slides is also a material. So pause the video and you can write everything in your fair book once, which will help you to learn better. Now we move further. Yesterday we did infectious and non-infectious diseases. So infectious diseases are those which spread from one person to another. Okay, how do they spread? Because an infected disease is spread by biological agents called pathogens. They are small microbes, very small microorganisms like viruses, bacteria, fungi, and even some protozoans. They are all single-celled organisms. Now because they are very small, they can spread easily from one person to another by means such as water. So when we drink contaminated water, water that is not purified, it may be carrying the germs. There are also viruses and bacteria inside the air. Sometimes they transmit in the food, and sometimes it lives on insects which carry them from one place to another. You may also get infected by physical contact like handshakes, hugs and wrestling. So you know the COVID-19 virus can spread through handshake. That is why we have to cover ourselves, always sanitize our hands, wear a face mask. So these are the some rules we have to follow. There are some infections which transmit from blood to blood contact. Blood to blood contact is blood transfusion, or while you are using in a saloon some blade to shave or cut the hair, and the same blade is used on another person, and if the blood from one person infects the blood of the other person, then also the disease can spread. Sometimes the infected mother also infects the baby when the baby is inside the stomach, or also through breastfeeding. So infectious diseases can be spread in this many ways. The infectious agents, the microbes. The microbes can be unicellular or multicellular. These microbes that cause infection are called pathogens or infectious agents or the microbes. Okay, now those causing disease are called pathogens and they are put into categories. We will very soon learn why all these organisms are put into categories. Now, the very small microbes like viruses, they are very small and they spread rapidly. Bacteria is slightly bigger than the virus, but it is still very small, and even fungi, being very small, they multiply quickly and spread quickly. While worms multiply slowly in comparison. But worms also causes infections. Now we'll see the reason why we have divided the infections agents into categories. Why put them into categories? The reason is, when you put in a certain category, a certain kind of treatment or a certain kind of medicine will only affect that category. So if you know the category of the microbe, we can decide which medicine or which kind of treatment will be effective against the microbe. Yes, so COVID-19 is a coronavirus. So what medicines are effective against the coronavirus can be effective against COVID-19 also, but now COVID-19 has evolved a little and is a little different. So the medicine may slow down or give a temporary cure, but we have not yet found a permanent cure for COVID-19. So again I repeat, be very careful, do not come out until needed, sanitize your hands properly, keep social distance and always wear a mask in public. Yes, try to follow all these rules. So now we come to the topic of antibiotics. So whenever we have got some infection or fever or something of that sort, we take antibiotics. So let us understand what are antibiotics. Antibiotics are chemical substances. Yes, they are chemical substances. Who produces them? The microorganisms themselves produce. So there are some bacteria and some fungi which are good in nature, beneficial. This bacteria and fungi produce some chemicals which are used as medicine against another kind of bacteria, fungi and viruses. Now when these chemicals are taken in low concentration, in a small amount, what do? They have the ability to inhibit. What is inhibit? Stop or slow down. Inhibit means to stop or slow down. So they stop or slow down the growth of the other microorganisms. Okay, so they block the biochemical pathway. Now this is very important. What is a biochemical pathway? We'll see. So an example of antibiotic is penicillin. Penicillin is an important antibiotic. It is working against bacteria. Yes. Now let us see how does it work. So plants have a cell wall around them. Cell wall plants have. But some bacteria also have a cell wall which protects the cellular structure of the bacteria. Means the cell wall doesn't allow any other chemical to go inside. So if no chemical can go inside the bacteria, you cannot kill the bacteria because the bacteria is protected by a cell wall. So if you want to kill the bacteria, the medicine needs to go inside. But to let it go inside, yes, the cure, we need something to block the growth of the cell wall itself. So the antibiotic penicillin blocks the formation of a cell wall. So it doesn't allow the cell wall to be formed. So the bacteria has now become weak and after some time it will slowly die. Now, sometimes the same antibiotic which has got the same chemical can work against many species of bacteria. So if some bacteria have got the same biochemical pathway, then the same antibiotic can work against a lot of species of bacteria. So antibiotics can work against bacteria. But antibiotics do not work against viral infections like this COVID-19 because viruses do not have the same pathway as that of bacteria. So we do not take antibiotics during a common cold because antibiotics does not reduce severity or duration of the disease. So you remember this, viruses need a different kind of medicine. For cough and cold we have cough syrups. Cough syrups contain a little percent of alcohol. It gives you drowsiness, but the alcohol slows down the movement of the virus. Alcohol inhibits the virus. That is why the sanitizer that we use in the COVID-19 virus contains alcohol. Yes, alcohol is inflammable, so to be very careful while handling sanitizer in the kitchen when your hands are sanitized. So alcohol got good protection against viruses. So for cold and common cold and cough and pneumonia, flu, some types of flu, we have got cough syrups. Now let us see one good discovery. Two Australians, Robin Warren and Bobby Marshall. You will read them somewhere, I guess. Robin Warren and Bobby Marshall discovered that a bacterium Heliobacter pylori. So this bacterium has got a name, Heliobacter pylori. It affects the pyloric area of the stomach. So it is called Heliobacter pylori. Was responsible for peptic ulcers. Ulcers means chanda, we say na chanda padi gaya. So these ulcers are found in the stomach. And people first thought that ulcers are caused due to a stressful life. When a person is working from morning to evening and is constantly thinking of work, is very tired, then he can give rise to these ulcers. Until these two Australians, Robin Warren and Bobby Marshall, found out that the peptic ulcers are caused by Heliobacter pylori. So people understood it is caused by an infection, so it is no longer a chronic disease. It's a short-term disease, and by taking proper medicine and proper treatment for a short time, this peptic ulcers can be cured. So when you learn about the cause of infection, you also know what cure can be taken, right? So this was antibiotics. Again, remember, they block the biochemical pathways which are important for the bacteria. Penicillin does not let the bacteria build a cell wall, so the bacteria remains weak. Now we have to go to the means of spread, and we have already done it before, but now we'll go in detail. Infectious disease can spread from an infected person to healthy person. So it is called a communicable disease. Now diseases are classified the way they are spread. You've got airborne diseases through air, waterborne through water, sexually transmitted through sexual contact, and through vectors means some insect or germ carries it from one place to another or from one body to another. Right? Let us understand them in detail. So airborne diseases are spread through air, like we said. Now, how does it spread? While coughing or sneezing. When an infected person coughs or sneezes, then little droplets are thrown out by the infected person. We cannot see these droplets with the naked eye, but droplets do fly from the infected person. Now a person standing close may inhale this microbe and it will go into his lungs, into his body. Or sometimes the droplets may fall on his hands, and with the dirty hands he wipes his nose or mouth. So the microbe gets a chance to get inside a healthy body and start a new infection. So common cold, it comes during changes of season. So this virus is when we have suddenly hot and cold climate, then this common cold spread, there is cough, sometimes there is pneumonia, this is slightly critical, and there is tuberculosis, it takes a long time to heal. But all these diseases are spread through microbes in the air. That is why an infected person should be kept separate, he should wear a mask or at least cover his face while coughing or sneezing. In tuberculosis, the clothes that he has been wearing has to be thoroughly washed, and the people in contact have to make sure they wear a mask. So these are some precautions that need to be taken time and again. Yes, so airborne diseases means there are many viruses in the air even now. That is why you need to have healthy food, healthy diet you should have. You should not drink contaminated water. Take proper rest, I told you yesterday. Proper rest is very important. When the brain is working fine, it boosts the immunity of the body. There are viruses in the air, a lot of them, but they don't affect our body because our immune system is quite strong at present. Because of proper exercise, proper diet and proper rest, we are healthy. Right? The next category is waterborne diseases. They spread through water. Now you know how water gets infected. It is the rainy season, so sometimes the gutters are overflowing. The overflowing water mixes with the drinking water. Yes, or sometimes there is a spill in villages when the excreta mixes with the drinking pond. So we can never see, it is very small. But when the person suffering from an infectious gut disease, that is small intestine or the stomach, such as cholera, and it gets mixed with drinking water and is used by people living nearby, then the disease can spread. That is why in the rainy season it is very necessary to drink pure water. So those who do not have purifiers in the house, the best thing is to boil the water. Boiling the water at high temperature kills all the microbes inside the water. So diseases can also spread through water. And in the rainy season, you know, the water is spread everywhere right now. Yes? So we have to be very careful. Remember, waterborne diseases are cholera and typhoid, which is mostly caused during rainy season. The third one is sexually transmitted diseases. This spread through sexual contact. Okay? So sexual contact doesn't mean physical contact. Like when you shake hands, or you hug your friend, or you wrestle with your friend, or you're playing, then that kind of physical contact is not called sexual contact. Sexual contact spreads disease like syphilis. So syphilis spreads through sexual contact, and even AIDS. What is AIDS, you know? AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It destroys the immunity system of your body. Once your immunity system is destroyed, you can catch any disease easily, and these diseases will never go, because the soldiers inside your body, the white blood cells who fight against diseases, are no longer strong. Okay, so AIDS can spread through sexual contact, but AIDS can also spread through blood transfusion. What is blood transfusion? During an accident or an operation, if blood from one person is transmitted to another person, and the person who donated the blood had AIDS, then the other person can also get infected with AIDS. So blood before transmission has to be checked thoroughly, tested thoroughly. Yes? Second, AIDS can also move from an infected mother to a baby. So in a pregnant lady, pregnant mother, it can also infect the baby, and sometimes through breastfeeding also the baby can get infected. And like I told you before, the barber uses a blade for the shaving. If the blade cuts an infected person and also cuts a normal person, and the blood comes in contact, then the normal person can also be infected with AIDS. That is why the barbers have to necessarily change the blade after every shaving, right? And the blade is disposed properly so that it doesn't infect anyone else. So proper care has to be taken. These are very, very small steps, but very, very important, because AIDS is a deadly disease and it is not have an effective cure is not yet found. Then the last category is spread of diseases through vectors. Now what is vector mean? Vector means the agent which carries the microbe, the pathogen, from one body to another, from a sick person to a healthy person. So sometimes animals transmit germs. Yes. So malaria, who spreads malaria? Now you have to understand this. Remember, malaria is not caused by the Anopheles female mosquito. It is written here Anopheles female. But malaria is caused by a protozoa called Plasmodium vivax. Will you remember? You can write it down. Malaria is caused by a protozoan called Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium, Plasmodium vivax, vivax. Okay? So if a person has malaria, there is Plasmodium vivax in his blood. Now what happens when the mosquito sucks the blood from an infected person and goes and bites a normal person, then that microbe is also transferred and the person may also get malaria. Now why only the female Anopheles mosquito spreads malaria? So let us understand, in many species of mosquitoes, the female need highly nutritious food. Now, why does the female need more food? It wants to lay eggs. It wants to lay mature eggs. To lay mature eggs, it needs very nutritious food. So where does it get the nutrition from? The blood of humans. So mosquitoes drink the blood of humans for the nutrition to lay mature eggs. Yes, because humans are warm-blooded. So when they take the blood from an infected person, this microbe Plasmodium vivax will enter the mosquito. Now the surprising part is, though the microbe has entered the mosquito does not get malaria. Yes? Otherwise the mosquito never dies of malaria. The mosquito spreads it to another person when it bites a healthy person. Then we have got the Aedes mosquito, which spreads yellow fever and dengue. So Aedes mosquito is different from a Anopheles mosquito. It lives in clean water and it doesn't fly very high, and it is of a different color than the normal Anopheles mosquito. So that is also a vector. Then we have got flies such as housefly, which cause typhoid and cholera, and that is why we should keep our food covered, because flies move everywhere and sit on everything. Now when they move everywhere and sit on everything, they sit on garbage and infection and everywhere and come on sit on healthy food. So we should always keep our food covered. We have got the CC fly which causes sleeping sickness, the sand fly which causes kala azar. So whenever you eat outside, see that the place is properly clean, there are no flies around. Do not eat food where there are too many flies around, okay? Because you never know from which infected places the flies have come. So this is the spread of disease through vectors, and I've told you more about the prevention and precaution, but we'll do it in detail tomorrow. Now you have to learn the name of these mosquitoes, the vectors, the flies. They can be asked as 1-mark questions also. So if you have got the textbook, read through the lesson, learn all the important words, learn all the important factors of the diseases, how they are spread. You should know all this in detail. So you need to look at the lecture one more time. Now, I'm sorry for sending this lecture late because there was some audio problem. But I'm sending this lecture, and along with that, I will send you some notes also, some question answers, which you can learn for the test. So I hope this lesson is very helpful to you in this rainy season. Be careful of what you eat outside. We are not supposed to move outside. Be very careful. Sanitize your hands always. Wear a mask always, and maintain social distancing. Okay? And once again, I am thanking you all because you're studying very well and online classes, and you are really doing very good in the test also. Okay? So we'll end here today. Thank you.